Hello everyone, welcome to Nanuya channel. And today we're diving into a hard but freeing topic. Is being disliked just part of life? Let me start with this. Yes, being disliked is a natural part of life, and learning to accept that can set you free. Because trying to be liked by everyone is not only impossible, it's also the fastest way to lose your true self. And when we lose our true selves, we lose our peace, our joy, and our sense of purpose. Being disliked can hurt, especially if you're a sensitive person or someone who grew up needing validation to feel safe. It might feel like rejection, abandonment, or even betrayal. But it's important to remember, being disliked doesn't make you unworthy. It makes you human. The fear of being disliked, most of us are taught to be likable, agreeable, polite, to fit in. From childhood, we learn to smile even when we're upset, to go along just to keep the peace. We learn that acceptance often comes from compliance, but constantly trying to be liked can become exhausting. It can make us shapeshift, overthink, and betray our true selves to earn approval. The fear of being disliked is often rooted in our need for connection. We're wired to want belonging. It's how we survive and thrive as social beings. But in our desire to belong, we sometimes sacrifice our boundaries, our voice, and even our values. This fear shows up in subtle ways: second-guessing yourself before you speak, apologizing for having needs, downplaying your accomplishments, or saying yes when your body is screaming no. The truth is, no matter how kind, generous, or genuine you are, someone won't like you. Maybe your confidence triggers their insecurity. Maybe your honesty feels confrontational to them. Or maybe they just don't vibe with your energy. And guess what? That's okay. You don't need to be liked by everyone to live a full and meaningful life. In fact, trying to please everyone usually means pleasing no one, not even yourself. Why being disliked is inevitable. We all have different values and perspectives. You could be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, and someone still won't like peaches. Differences are part of being human, and disagreement is not failure. People project their own insecurities. Sometimes dislike says more about the other person's pain, envy, or unresolved trauma than it does about you. You might remind them of someone who hurt them, or you might trigger something in them they haven't yet healed. You can't control what others see when they look at you through their own wounds. Authenticity isn't for everyone. When you stop people-pleasing and start setting boundaries, some people will resist. They were only comfortable when you were small, silent, or self-sacrificing. When you grow, you outgrow. And sometimes, the people who loved your past version won't support your evolved one. Standing for something invites opposition. If you speak your truth, stand up for what matters, or live boldly, you will make waves. And that's not a bad thing. Polarization is often the price of integrity. People may resist not because you're wrong, but because your courage reminds them of their silence. Social media amplifies perception. In today's world, being visible means being vulnerable to criticism. But it also means you're living fully. Being disliked online doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're showing up. Being seen will always come with being judged, but it also comes with being connected, supported, and remembered. Everyone has different wounds and stories. Your boundaries might feel like abandonment to someone else. Your joy might highlight someone's despair. You never really know what part of your light makes someone uncomfortable. How to handle being disliked. Accept it without self-judgment. Being disliked doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're visible, human, real, and realness is rare and often misunderstood. You're not here to be palatable to everyone. Know your core. When you're solid in your values, choices, and integrity, other people's opinions lose power over you. You stop living for approval and start living from alignment. The question becomes not, do they like me? But, do I respect who I'm becoming? Don't fight for approval. If someone misunderstands you and refuses to see your heart, let them. You don't owe everyone an explanation. Your energy is too precious to waste on convincing. Spend it instead on building what matters. Surround yourself with those who do see you. Focus your energy on mutual, nourishing relationships, not on winning over critics. Real connections are never built on constant proving. They're built on being. Use it as a compass. If someone dislikes you for being honest, authentic, or setting boundaries, that's confirmation you're on the right path. Discomfort often comes before growth. And sometimes, resistance is simply a sign you're stepping into a new level. Reframe rejection as redirection. Every no from someone who doesn't align with your spirit is making room for a yes from someone who truly does. Every closed door brings you closer to the right one. Practice self-compassion. Just because someone doesn't value you doesn't mean you're not valuable. Speak to yourself with kindness when the world feels harsh. Your inner voice should be your sanctuary, not an echo of criticism. Let silence be your power. Sometimes, the most powerful response to criticism or rejection is no response at all. Not every opinion deserves your energy. Trust your worth enough to walk away in peace. Let me share a real-life reflection from someone named Kaithleen. I think it is. Took me a long time to realize I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm not even the majority of people's cup of tea. The world is full of coffee drinkers from where I stand. I was that odd, awkward, bullied kid in school. What I finally understood was that when people do like me, they love me. They get me and appreciate my brand of quirky. I have a couple of lifelong friends who are a lot like me that way. I mastered enough social graces to get by in general, but when it came to larger workplaces, I still continued to end up ostracized and bullied. My personality would eventually emerge, whether I wanted it to or not. People seemed to find me threatening. I'm a mixture of intelligent competence and childlike enthusiasm with the attention span to match, aka ADHD. I eventually found my niche in two-person art businesses. I'm still in the process of becoming unapologetically myself. Even my husband has a love-hate relationship with how I be in the world. One day, I am skipping through a meadow of flowers, collecting them for an art project, and the next, I am designing an architectural drawing of what our new house addition should look like. I am okay with being disliked, and I have actually found a tribe in the last couple of years, which has been a first in my life. This beautifully captures the journey many of us take, learning to accept our uniqueness, even when it sets us apart. You're not meant for everyone, and not everyone is meant for you. The sooner you release the need to be universally liked, the more peace and freedom you'll feel. Here's a quote I love. If you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war inside yourself. Being disliked doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Often, it means you're doing something brave. You're living according to your truth instead of shrinking to fit someone else's comfort zone. And that is something to be proud of. Your value isn't in how many people like you. It's in how authentically you show up, even when it's hard. So be kind, be respectful, but also be real, be bold, be yourself. Thanks for tuning in to Nanuya Podcast. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And always remember, you are not for everyone, but you are for someone, and that's more than enough.